Looking now at the Bonnie mare Hilarious Guest, number 6 she is in the book. The 6-year-old mare who was our top 2-year-old, top 3-year-old, top 4-year-old, finished second in the Auckland Cup last week and will retire after this race tonight. So this is her last performance on a racetrack in New Zealand. What a great mare she's been.
And we're certainly going to miss her. As Philip said, she's done it all ways. She was a top young horse. She really has not gone a bad one in about the last 4 or 5 months here. Gallant in defeat in the Auckland Cup. Jack Smolenski, the driver tonight, her usual pilot, Jack Carmichael, suspended for a misdemeanour on Wednesday. Jack's here tonight. He'll be looking with a certain amount of regret. I don't doubt that this mare is gracing the tracks for the last time.
I was talking to Maurice Vermeulen, the owner-trainer, and he told me that she is safely in foal to the good stallion Noodlem, and a very good race performer he was too, and he doesn't want to push her too much, so this will be her last appearance on a racetrack. And John, a tough little mare. She's drawn the number 3 position tonight, and I think will give a lot of cheek.
No question, Philip. She won the Standard Bred Breeders' Mile here in a tick over 157 early in the new year, so she's got the speed. She's better in front, there's no doubt about that, and if anybody's going to make of it a race of it with Roydon Glen, I think she'll do exactly what she did last Saturday night at Auckland, try and keep him away from the fence as long as she possibly can.
Maurice Vermeulen, there must be a little bit of sentiment attached to seeing her out there on the track for the last time.
Oh, not really. She's going to a sentimental paddock.
She will obviously enjoy the paddock, but for you personally, it must have been a great thrill to have raced a mare as classy as she's been.
Yeah, it's a real great thrill.
What about other offspring? Have you got others coming along that you think could be anywhere near as good as her?
I've got a half-brother to her, which is an up-and-coming 2-year-old now, so I'm really thrilled with the way he's progressing.
So you think she deserves that paddock finally?
Yes, and I'm really proud of it.
And do you think she could win tonight or not?
Oh, of course he does.
Good on you, Maurice Vermeulen. There we are, the owner-trainer of Hilarious Guest. Let's have a look at some of the other starters. Here's number 9 now, Enterprise, and he really is on trial tonight because last week was a little bit of a disappointment, I think, in the Auckland Cup, and he is into Dominion bound as well. Peter Shan to drive.
And there's no question, this horse really does have to show something tonight if he's going to justify his claim as the best of the New Zealanders that's going over. He really didn't run on all that well in the Auckland Cup, but he really had to make a run earlier, I think, than Tony Hurley he really wanted to get up somewhere near the pace. And he didn't run on as well as he does if he's left perhaps a little later in the race. He doesn't have a great record as a miler, but he's won 20 races, and that takes some doing, and over $250,000. And I'm sure that Pat Heffernan, the owner-trainer, and Peter Shand, who has driven him on a number of occasions, will be looking for a better performance tonight.
Number 10 is Barana, turned in a slashing effort for 4th on the big race night last week at Alexandra Park. The horse has drawn rather badly, but Peter Jones, who drove him on that occasion, I'm sure is confident he can get somewhere near the pace.
Yes, this was the run of the race, really, as far as the also-rans and the Auckland Cup are concerned. Barana has always been a noted front runner. He's obviously not going to get there, barring accidents from his second row draw. But I don't doubt Peter Jones will be up there cracking the pace on with a half-mile to run. Already the winner of 17 races, so he's a pretty well-performed horse, and not the least of the chances. And at $27 for a win, the Barana fans will be on top of the world if he does top them off.
Roydon Glen at the moment, $1.40 and $1.30. As we look at another starter in the race, and this is Lady L. She's paying $19 to win and $3.10 a place. She is also into Dominion bound and follows up a good second here on the first night of the New Brighton meeting.
Was a good run behind Lord Louis as well, because Lady L hadn't had a race at a totalisator meeting for 5 or 6 weeks. The run's bound to improve her. She was driven in behind, and I think intentionally so, by Robin Butt, because she's tended to pull very hard on occasions. She settled beautifully on Wednesday. She looks as if the run's improved her, and of course in a mile, if you've drawn one, you have a tremendous advantage because you don't cover any extra ground.
Here's Hands Down now, the veteran of the field, and a great horse. What a tremendous thrill it would be for the crowd here if this horse could do it. He, remember, is on his home turf, and he goes so well here at Addington, and if he won, well, John, I don't know what would happen.
They tear the grandstand down. I don't know exactly. I think he's won 25 or 26 races on this track, which no other horse has ever done. And he just loves the place. He's no great miler, but, you know, he does some extraordinary things when he comes to Addington. And young Anthony Butt, grandson of trainer Derek's, got the drive tonight. Anthony won with him last time he started here in a big race. Paid the tote that night, I think $15 to win. He's certainly at any old price tonight. He's paying 17, and he's tough, he's game, and when some of the others are stopping, he'll still be grinding on.
Just waiting now for a start in the Pan Am Mile of 1985. The field just assembling behind the mobile barrier as we look at the last horse in the race, certainly the last in numbers, but not in class. Number 14, Hondos Dream. A young horse, only 4-year-old, but has rattled up a very impressive record of 6 wins, 3 seconds, 1/3 from only 17 starts.
That third on Wednesday night was an extraordinary performance. It was his first run over a real sprint. He started in the mile and finished third behind Lord Louis, and he was a mile behind them with 800 metres to run. You'll notice that he's an unhoppled pacer. He paces free-legged, and that means that he takes a little time to warm up in his races, and he was counted out on Wednesday, but he really stormed home with a great finishing run. He won't be able to give this field too much of a start, but if he gets a run at them, he will be very hard to beat.
And so the field for this year's race is underway. Remember, Hilarious Guest makes her last appearance. There she is, number 6. The horse that is the horse to beat is number 8, Roydon Glen. He has drawn the number 5 spot, and that's obviously going to be against him. But there's a good, classy field here. A lot of reputations on trial. Let's go to commentator Rion Mither.
Sure, we're going to see a great race. Here they go. They're off and racing, and Roydon Glen, he's flown out on the outside and down on the inside, Lady L, and right between them, Hilarious Guest. The 3 abreast as they come up towards the turn the first time. Borana's in behind them. Sure He Can and Almana. Roydon Glen just lost a couple of lengths coming around that turn, only because he was about 3 wide, I think. They were followed by Enterprise, about 3 back on the outside. It was joined down on the inside by Lord Louis. Hands Down has dropped back second to last, and Hondos Dream is last. Hilarious Guest leads them past the judge. They race down past the judge now, and the leader, but Roydon Glen taking the mare on, and Roydon Glen is gone past her quickly onto the showgrounds bend. He's in front now by a couple of lengths, is followed by Hilarious Guest. Almana over the outside, back along the rail to Lady L. Sure He Can, getting into the 1-1 with Borana, followed by Lord Louis. 2 lengths to Enterprise, to about 2.5 to Hands Down, and Hondos Dream at the tail of the field. Into the back they go, they reach the halfway, and Roydon Glen by about 1.5 lengths. Hilarious Guest right up behind him. Almana facing the breeze on the outside, and Lady L the rail, followed by Sure He Can and Borana. Lord Louis. Enterprise is 2 lengths away. Hands Down following Enterprise, and Hondos Dream is last. Off the back they come, about 550 to go, and Roydon Glen gets a reminder from Fred Fletcher to keep him up to his work. A tap on the rump, and he's a length clear. Almana's going after him. Hilarious Guest struggling to keep up behind him. Lady L's angled off the fence and coming around. Then Borana followed by Lord Louis. Hands Down is 2 lengths away with Enterprise, Hondos Dream, and Sure He Can out of its class. Round the bend they come now, 230 to go. Roydon Glen going for 11 in a row. He's out by 2 lengths. Almana tracking him. Is he going to be able to bridge the gap? Fred's got the whip on Roydon Glen, and Almana's out to challenge. 100 to go. Roydon Glen, oh, but he's kicking away. Roydon Glen, the little champ, 11 in a row. He wins the Pan Am Mile for 1985. A brilliant performance again, and Almana runs second. Hands Down gets up for third on the outside. Hilarious Guest is home for fourth. Enterprise coming home pretty strongly. Then Lord Louis, Hondos Dream, Borana, and Lady L, and a long way back to Sure He Can.
If you ever had doubts about his class, you have to be convinced tonight. A tremendous effort has seen Roydon Glen rocket across the line to win the Pan Am Mile, and we will await the time with interest. John May now to bring you the replay of the 1985 Classic.
And this is what happened after they turned for home. There's the champion, because he is without a doubt now Roydon Glen in front. Fred Fletcher gives him a couple of reminders. That's Almana in the blue behind him, desperately trying to bridge the gap. Hilarious Guest can do no better down on the fence. Watch for the finishing run of Hands Down. The horse wide out in the field. He'll come back into shot in a moment. But here we are with about 100 metres to go. It's Roydon Glen in front. Fred Fletcher waves the whip at him, has a glance across and sees he's got Almana covered. Colin De Philippi realises he can do no better, and there's Hands Down rocketing home down the outside to take third place, the old fellow, and Hilarious Guest in a gallant race before she retires, a very meritorious fourth.
We'll be back in a moment to bring you the dividends from the Pan Am Mile of 85. There is the horse that has just won the Pan Am Mile in most convincing fashion. The name is Roydon Glen, and he belongs to Mr. Roy Mackenzie, who's joined me now for a quick comment. Roy, this must give you tremendous satisfaction, particularly the way that he did do it tonight.
Yes, the finish, the last part of the race was pretty tough, and that seemed to suit him, thank goodness.
Roy and Don, I understand you could tell us a little bit about the name. Roy and Don, these are the two sons of the late J.R. Mackenzie.
Yes, they call the stud farm after myself and my brother Roydon. I think they saw the name Croydon on a bus in England and picked it up from there.
Well, it's been a marvellous name and very synonymous, of course, with trotting in this country for so long. What will be the plans for this very good horse, Roydon Glen?
We might hopefully have a time trial for him to give the public in Wellington a look at him on the 26th of this month, but the hardest thing at the moment seems to be finding a galloper that'll go fast enough to go with him.
He certainly seems to be in that type of shape. The thing that, of course, the family hasn't done is achieve that remarkable effort of winning a New Zealand Cup in such a long 60-year history, I think, for the family. Will that be the main aim for the season?
Yes, we'll be aiming for that, but I think we've just got to live a bit longer and hopefully we'll make it in the end.
He's a marvellous horse, Roy, and were you pleased with the time considering the conditions?
Yes, I think going into the wind and both at the start and the finish probably just cost another second or so.
Would you have liked to seen him now at the Inter-Dominions, knowing the form that he's in, or not?
No, just as happy. I'd like to be there, but no, we're happy we made the decision we did.
Next year?
Yeah.
Roy Mackenzie, congratulations and thank you for joining us. Okay, the dividends now from the race are available and John May has them for you.
Well, there it all is for you. The winner, number 8, Roydon Glen, $1.45 to win, $1.30 for the place. Number 13, Our Mana for second, $2.30. And the old champ, hands down, number 7 for third, $3.80. Trifecta up there, 8, 13 and 7, $133.60. And the Quinella on the race, 8 and 13, $7.10. You can see the time, considering there's a very cold and fairly fresh easterly wind, 1:57.5, a remarkable effort and a tremendous run by Roydon Glen.
Our Mana finished in second place, of course. That was a good effort, and also hands down rocketing home for third. But I think all honours, John, as we leave Addington with the winner.
No question about that, and I think everybody in the Heffernan camp will be happy. Enterprise finished only 5th, but got an interrupted run, and would think that's a pretty good pointer to Melbourne. But I don't think there's a horse in New Zealand, and there may not be a horse in Australia, good enough to beat this fellow at the moment.